I think Simone Biles is very much a game changer in the sport of gymnastics, and if not in sports in general, with everything that happened in Tokyo, with her deciding to listen to her inner voice and recognize that, hey, moving forward right now is not safe for me mentally and it's not safe for me physically. I think it really shows a great deal of courage. It shows a great deal of humility. No one in their right mind would say, I'm going to commit and sacrifice my whole childhood, make it to a first Olympic Games and make history and then qualify to a second Olympic Games and then just choose to bow out, choose to step aside, unless there was a very serious reason to do so. And her mental health matters to her as well as her physical health. And I love that she's been very outspoken and sharing her truth. And it'll help change much of what needs to change in the world of sports. Well, I hope that she listens to those that really know her support system. She has a strong belief in Catholicism. She has her mother and her father. She has her sister. She has other family members, and she definitely has her friends and her teammates that were on the floor. The fact that these girls were cheering each other on and bonding as they were, I was a little jealous. Like, I was like, how am I not competing during this era where they're high-fiving each other and cheering each other on and truly genuinely liking each other and their friends? That's going to be an important part of her healing, having that support system with her every step of the way to lean on. A lot of those young girls can relate to what she's gone through, especially being around the sport of gymnastics and the unhealthy culture. And Simone Biles is the only survivor on the floor competing of the Larry Nassar sexual abuse scandal. A lot of people forget that. That's an additional weight that she's had to bear on her shoulders. And it's going to take quite some time to heal. There will be many triggers in her life that'll bring up that trauma that she went through. But I love how she's using her platform for good. She's creating dialogue with regards to mental health and how that needs to be people's top priority. And she's listening to her inner voice and not guided by those around her that maybe don't have her best intentions in mind. And so I do know that her support system will be there for her, and I just hope she continues to lean on them. The sport of gymnastics is a culture that's based on fear, intimidation, and silence, and we need that to change. And it really has to start from the powers that be, USA Gymnastics, and then also some very impactful voices like Simone Biles, like Aly Raisman, like Jamie Dancher, and even myself, starting the gymnastics academy that I'm sitting in right now. It's the Dominique Dawes Gymnastics and Ninja Academy in Clarksburg, Maryland. And it's all about creating a healthier culture in the sport of gymnastics. One based on compassion, one based on encouragement, and working on lifting up the self-esteem of young girls and not tearing them down. It's all about hiring the right people. It is not the equipment. It is not the brand on the walls. It is not the location that's going to make the academy. It is truly hiring coaches on the floor that are passionate about working with each and every kid that walks through our doors. We treat every kid the same. Doesn't matter what your aspirations are. It doesn't matter what your ability level is. It doesn't matter what your parents want for you. We care about every kid no matter what. And we're not about tearing them down or judging them or criticizing them. We work on celebrating every single small success that is worth bringing attention to. We focus on ensuring that kids are smiling, are laughing, are building friendships. Because at the end of the day, to me, kids only have one childhood, and I want to make it a very healthy and productive one. And the best way to do it is to have healthy and positive role models right there on the floor, encouraging them every step of the way. So it's my coaches that make it all possible, but they do know the philosophy and what this program is about. And so they recognize that it's not about doing things the old way gymnastics was back in the 90s or early and mid 2000s, but really about finding those positive things that we can celebrate for these young kids. We have all been going through COVID together for the last 18 months. And I think from everything, we recognize that we need to be more grateful. We need to be more appreciative, and we need to connect better with people. We need those relationships in life. We don't want to go through life alone. And so we make sure we create that bond of friendship here in this academy. I just ran into one of my teammates in the parking lot, and she gave me a big hug and she said, "Thank you so much for starting this academy," because the gym that her and I came from, we don't want to go back to. It was somewhere that I spent nearly 18 years of my childhood, and it was very cutthroat. It was very harsh, and there was a great deal of verbal, physical, emotional abuse going on there. And she has signed her daughter up in my preschool program, and she had told me, "This is exactly what I want for my kid. I never wanted to put my daughter in the sport of gymnastics, but because you're doing it, Dom, and you're doing it the right way, I'm on board. That's why I did this. It's a great deal of pressure being on the Olympic stage. Even if you're the leader of the squad or you are maybe the lower man on the totem pole, your contribution truly does matter. And you feel that pressure. You feel the pressure from the fans. You feel the pressure from your family. You feel the pressure from your friends. You feel the pressure from the country. And for me, also being the first African American to rightfully qualify to the Olympic Games at the 1992 Olympic Trials in Baltimore, Maryland, I felt the pressure from my race. It's enormous. It's too much for a young kid. It's something that does leave a lasting impact on them. I lived a great deal of my life in fear and anxiety and worry and thinking as if I was never enough. And just recently, I wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post, and I talk about how my body type was a deduction in the sport of gymnastics. And I felt as if even I was a deduction in the sport of gymnastics just for me being me. And so with all that said, I don't feel as if it's worth the emotional, the physical, the psychological toll that it takes on many young people. Again, you only have one childhood. It should be fun. It should be fruitful. It should be teaching you the amazing intangibles for you to use in your adulthood. It shouldn't be full of traumas that you then have to work on healing from for you to be a happy and whole adult later in life. Well, these athletes, I would say this to really shut off the comments. You know, these people don't know you, even though your fans are going to lift you up and support you and believe in you, which is probably 98% of the comments. There's going to be those 2% of people that really don't know what you're going through, don't want to empathize, and just want to tear you down. And that is just life. There are going to be those group of individuals. And so my best advice to all of these athletes out there, keep putting out your message, keep being who you are, and disregard any feedback that you're getting from the world that doesn't know who you are. I couldn't imagine being in their shoes today. I remember back in 1996 when I was on tour with my Olympic teammates, message boards came out. I don't know if you remember that, but in 1996, message boards came out, and it was messaging out in the public forum of people's comments of what they thought of an individual or an action or what have you. I remember my teammates, the Magnificent Seven, they were so excited to read about what people were saying about us. And I said, oh, no, I don't want to know, because I don't want that to either feed my ego or shatter my self-esteem. And I remember my teammates saying, oh, no, Dom, they're saying great things about you. They're going to say great things about you until one person decides to jump on and just try to tear you down. And so it's not worth my mental health to really care too much about the comments. The positive ones don't get me high, and the negative ones go in one ear and out the other. And that's the advice I would really give to all of these amazing athletes and these amazing people on these different forums that truly believe in the change that they're trying to make. When I was approached by one of the now executive producers of this docuseries called Golden, the journey of USA's elite level gymnasts, it's 5 Olympic hopefuls on the road to the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, knowing that it was postponed. When I was approached by one of the executives, I made it very clear that I wanted to be transparent. I wanted to be about the full journey, not just what people remember seeing back in the 90s. They see us at the Olympics, our hair's done, we're smiling, we're robots, everything's all sound bites and it's politically correct. But I really want people to see the big picture and the journey and the sacrifice and the commitment that it takes and the toll that it takes on these young athletes to even get a shot at making an Olympic team that they fully don't have control over, because there is a selection committee that is very much hands-on and controlling. And really, I am very proud of this docuseries because it shows all of what an athlete has to endure. Sunisa Lee is one of our athletes. Can't be prouder that she not only made the Olympics, but she also won the all around. How awesome is that? And you can see her from months back where she's just like, this is too much. I can't focus. I still have to get in shape. I'm coming back from an injury. She's connecting with her dad. He went through a traumatic experience. It impacted their family, their community. Also, Michaela Skinner, another one of our athletes, qualified as well. And her heart-wrenching story of not being selected for the previous Olympics in 2016. And then her now married, finished college, had an amazing collegiate career, wanted to get at that one last shot. And we're even getting some amazing interviews from not only the coaches, but also their parents being very transparent about the level of sacrifice, the commitment, the concerns about the overall health of their children. And so this series is definitely worth watching, especially if you want to know what gymnastics is all about. And again, that's why I have my academy open, because it definitely needs to change.